Hello, my name is Jordan Stout, and for my ISM paper, I wrote about ADHD and its impact on the learning environment. In this paper, the following questions were considered. What is ADHD? What effect does ADHD have on a student academically? What effect does ADHD have on a student behaviorally? What impact does ADHD have on teacher perspective and student relationships? The key findings within my research were that ADHD is an impairment in the brain and usually due to a depletion of certain chemical messengers in the front of the brain, in the front part of the brain, and the major cause of this depletion relates to a number of genes. I found this to be very interesting because I always heard or assumed that ADHD was just a chemical imbalance in the brain, but it is more than that. It is a true impairment that is due to a depletion of chemical messengers. And in my paper, it goes into more detail and the impacts that it has. It affects executive functioning, frontal lobe functions, and more aspects of the brain than I truly considered. I always thought it just impaired a person's ability to focus, or they always wanted to move, but it is so much more than that. In addition, children with ADHD exhibit clinically impairing inattentive behavior during instruction and other cognitively demanding contexts. This finding really resonated with me because I had several students who had ADHD in my classes this year, and I always noticed that their disruptive behaviors or their inability to focus was always most prevalent during quiet times where they had to focus, like during a test or on demand writing. So it's when it was quiet, they had to focus on something that was really cognitively demanding, that their brain began to wander, or they wanted to tap their pencil, or they wanted to tap their foot, or they wanted to make noises and see if they could get somebody else to be distracted along with them. And this is often due not to the fact that they want to just disrupt, sometimes students do, but also because they're frustrated in their own inability to focus and complete their work, that they have to manifest that in some way. And it might be through distracting other children or getting your attention. So again, this is not because they're just wanting to disrupt, but it's because they don't know how to cope or manage the imbalances they are experiencing. Children with ADHD attain significantly lower scores in objective tests that measured attentional ability compared to normal children of the same age. So, this is the whole aspect that they cannot hold attention to something super long, like if there's idle time, they can't focus or entertain themselves. They have to have something they're constantly doing, or their mind begins to wander. They feel the need to do something. They might want to get up and walk around the classroom or do things like that. They always have to have something to focus their attention on. That's why in some classroom you'll see like fidgets or those bands that go on the bottom of chairs where they can kind of tap their foot. It's ways to keep their brain focused on something that allows them to kind of channel their cognitive ability to focus on whatever you're trying to get them to focus on. And then lastly, teachers' positive perception of their role along with their personal and professional experiences increase their level of empathy and ability to accommodate and support the needs of the ADHD learner. So this is probably the most profound thing that I discovered, and it ties into classroom application, but it found that teacher perception really was the biggest impact in student success in the classroom. Because if the student felt rejected by the teacher, well, then they became frustrated, they became even less motivated, right? They wanted to disconnect entirely. And so then the teacher becomes frustrated and insecure in their ability to teach and manage. And so it just widens this disconnect between the teacher and student. And tying into the classroom application, teachers should seek to educate themselves about the disorder as well as strategies and techniques they can implement in the classroom in order to support the student with ADHD. The more informed a teacher is, the more comfortable they feel in their role, the more effective they will be in helping students with ADHD be successful in and out of the classroom. In my paper, I talk about how it is recommended that all teachers, special education or not, attend a professional development on what is ADHD, its symptoms, its causes, and then how does that manifest in the classroom, as well as strategies and techniques to use to help that student be successful. Some of these techniques include allowing or providing information or providing assessments in that student's preferred learning style, right? So it connects in a way that they are able to understand and communicate information. This might be minimizing idle time. So having, if you're done, then do this assignment. And that is the biggest way to apply this information in the classroom, is just to educate yourself, and therefore you'll feel more confident and comfortable in your role as an educator and will be able to best help this student. Thank you.